This Shabbat, in our Torah reading, God says to the people of Israel, "You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy." What exactly is holiness? It's such an abstract term. Is it being a good person? Is it being a rabbi or a cantor? Observing all of the 613 laws? Some of us bring holiness into our lives by lighting Shabbat candles, while others simply exhibit a sense of holiness by the lighting of a yahrzeit candle. How do we define Kedusha, holiness, in the year 2012? There's a wonderful book entitled Living a Year of Kaddish that has been out for a number of years by Aharei Goldman. After the death of his father, Aharei Goldman wrote a memoir about his own grief for a distant father he wished he had known better. For Goldman, grief found its fullest expression in the Jewish tradition of the daily recitation of the mourner's prayer for the dead, the Kaddish. Goldman records the progression of his thoughts and feelings throughout this year of mourning, season by season. For him, saying Kaddish daily for 11 months and thereafter every year on the anniversary or yahrzeit of the death becomes more than a ritual. As his title suggests, it comes to stand for a way of life, a way of learning to live again as a middle-aged orphan. After his father died, Goldman attended Minyan every day to recite Kaddish, and in his book he shares a story about his experience. He writes, "Hanukkah brought my friend to New York. As a congregational rabbi, he had had a host of experiences with death and bereavement. Through his work and personal experiences, he came to embrace the traditional belief in the Jewish afterlife and even wrote a book about it. I had always approached the subject of the afterlife with some uncertainty, but the loss of my mother and father made me realize that they were not gone, but in a real sense still with me. Ellie, my friend, had been something of a long-distance grief counselor to me since my father's death, and I looked forward to his visit. I'd mentioned to Ellie that our morning minyan was on shaky ground. "What time do you daven?" he asked on the eve of his visit. 7 a.m., but I don't want you to come, I responded. "Ellie, that's 4 a.m. for you. Don't knock yourself out." But a couple days later, Ellie was in shul. "Thanks, but you didn't have to come," I told him. "I came," he said, "because I really wanted to answer Amen to your Kaddish." I have to tell you that this is a beautiful story and truly speaks about Kedusha, holiness. Kadesh stems from the same root of the word holiness. The Kaddish has nothing to do with death, but everything to do with life as we sanctify God's name. Aharei Goldman's is a story of simple acts of goodness and holiness. Holiness does not simply happen. Rather, we need to make holiness happen. Rabbi David Wolpe explains holiness through Moses. Moses came down from Sinai twice. The first set of tablets he smashed at the foot of the mountain upon seeing the golden calf. Returning to the top of Sinai, Moses is instructed by God to carve a new set of tablets. In descending the second time, Moses undergoes a peculiar change. His face glows. We are told that he wore a veil when speaking to the people. Why does his face glow the second time and not the first time? Jonathan Sacks, in his book To Heal a Fractured World, gives an answer. He says after the first tablets, where he was merely a passive recipient of God's gift, he was still the same Moses. After the second, he was different. We are changed not by what we receive, but what we do. Rabbi David Wolpe explains that we are blessed. However, we are not so different than those who came before us. Our blessings do not change us, but some have used blessings for goodness, and they are changed. For it is not the face of good fortune that glows, but the face of goodness. So I ask you again, what is holiness? To me, holiness is bringing Kedusha into our lives, making the ordinary extraordinary, doing good things. It is not just sitting in shul, but it is doing good things. It is the little things like answering Amen to someone's Kaddish. We all have the ability to bring holiness into our lives, for as God tells us, "You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy." Shabbat Shalom.